Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome back to Pagan Tales. Today we are talking about the goddess Badb, who is an aspect of the Morrigan. The meaning of her name is Crow. She is a well-known goddess of war. She strikes fear into the heart of warriors. She creates panic and confusion on the battlefield, and her very presence is oftentimes a portent of doom and death. Amongst her other capabilities is that she is known to be a shapeshifter, specifically into the form of a crow. She has the powers of prophecy, and she represents the crone aspect of goddesshood. Now, the correspondences to this particular goddess include the planet Mars, the zodiac sign of Aries, the day of Tuesday, the element of water, and the sense of tears of grief and rage. In tarot, the tower for Sabbats, she's linked with Samhain. Gang, if you are noticing a pattern here, there is a reason for that. She is a goddess who is dealing with very serious, very painful, very primal aspects of the human experience. Specifically as if we're about to shed the mortal coil, through battle or through some form of conflict. So there's a reason why she's associated with all of these things that have a very aggressive and very unyielding kind of energy. But to go on, the trees she's linked with are the apple and the yew. The mammal is the wolf. Birds, crane, crow, raven, probably any form of blackbird you could credibly tie with her. In the magical realm, her link with the fairies is specifically through the banshee. The crystals are bloodstone and garnet, and her general powers, as we've covered a little bit, are battles, war, just in generally, but in particular battlefields, particular points of conflict and engagements, death, defense, destiny, destruction, divination, endings, enmity, fear, influence, life, lust, magic in a general sense, but also the magic of the crone, that later in life female wisdom. She has the gifts of prophecy, rebirth, renewal, revenge, self-work in regards to your past lives, success, and wisdom. So she is a potent, powerful sort of goddess. Now, Queen of the Fae, because all of the goddesses we are looking at this through the month of April have some link to this idea of being Queen of the Fae. It's by virtue of being an aspect of the Morrigan, who also holds the title Queen of the Fae. That is how Badb is linked into that. But her associations are, again, very specifically to do with the Banshee. And the Banshee, of course, as most people are aware, they are known to shriek and rail right before a death occurs. Sometimes, in older times, this was mostly confined to battlefields. In later times, it signaled the death of a member of the family, particularly of an Irish family. And today, I think it is, again, more generally just someone's going to pop off, not a happy thing, but it is something that's going to occur. And the interesting thing about her is just the way she so perfectly embodies, this balancing force. Death is the balance to life, and these things are energies that go back and forth on that seesaw. They are linked together. They cannot be separated, and the one feeds into the other. So you might be asking, why are we discussing Badb before Beltane instead of at Samhain? When we could have done this back in October, Brigantia, I hear you say, and I do hear that, and I do recognize that this may seem a little out of order of the season. However, my justification is this. Beltane is the yang to Samhain's yin, and I mean that quite literally. Beltane is the time of life going forth, and Samhain is the time of when life is being gathered back into the realm of the dead. Beltane goes out, Samhain goes in, hence the yin and the yang. And each spoke of the wheel on the wheel of the year, it has a little spark, a little something of its opposite number within it. This is very reminiscent of the yin-yang symbol that we are all familiar with. You have the white side, you have the black side, and then inside of the white, there's a dot of the black, and inside of the black, there's a dot of the white, keeping them linked and cohesive. So even though we are very much in this season of life, we know that the season of death will return. And even though we're not focusing on that, we are still conscious of it. So why work with Badb? She isn't the most cuddly of sorts, and I can understand why she wouldn't necessarily be anyone's first choice. I get it. However, conflict and other forms of tragedy, they are just a part of life, and they can strike unexpectedly, regardless of what season the natural world is in. And Badb can provide warnings of what is to come, as well as being understanding in ways that few other gods and goddesses would be for those who are very much grief-stricken when death does come calling for someone they care about. Now, when it comes to the matter of conflict, if we do have the misfortune to experience physical conflict of whatever form, calling upon Badb can help wreak havoc upon your enemies, provided you are also taking the appropriate actions in response to yourself. And of course, I don't want anyone being tiresome and accusing me of encouraging people to take illegal action. Work within the framework of the law, but do acknowledge that you have an absolute right of self-defense. And obviously, invoking Badb, that is not something to be taken lightly. And evoking divine assistance of this kind, it should be reserved for times of war, or if you were severely physically assaulted, we're talking sexual assault, we are talking about beaten nearly to death, things that are on the order of that kind of severity and magnitude, invoking her in that case as, essentially bring the person who did this to justice. Yes, I've reported it to the police. Yes, I have done my part in it and taking mortal action to redress this issue. But, calling upon her, that can put a little bit more energy around it. Again, serious thing to do, not exactly something you do just because it's a Tuesday and someone was irritating you. It's far more serious than that. So if we're going to be connecting with her, you might be looking after crows, particularly if they're prolific in your area. They are a representation of Badb. You might, leave out food for them, provide shelter for them, water, that sort of thing. Just attend to their needs. You can perform some divination next to a natural source of water, because there's many stories with her essentially washing the clothes of those who are going to be slain in battle in a river, and someone seeing, and that being their sign of, yeah, you're not going to make it. We can offer blessed water when taken from a stream to this goddess. We can toss bloodstone into a creek. We can plant apple trees in this goddesses of honor, and we can help maintain war memorials and grave sites. Now, if signs of her, if she's interested in you back, or if she's taking the initiative, you might notice an increase of a significant amount of crows than your general vicinity. This is particularly noteworthy if that's not really common for your area, or it's just not really the time of year where that tends to happen. That could be an indication. Dreams and visions involving various forms of Badb or things that are associated with her, crows, cauldrons, mist. Look for patterns and synchronicities that line up with this goddess. If you are experiencing feelings of intense transformation, you have sudden sensations of cold, or if symbols associated with Badb are just standing out, especially in unexpected places, you might hear bird song, particularly the birds. Well, calling the bird song of crows song is it's a bit too generous, I suppose, but hearing things of that sort at odd times, or just getting an overwhelming sense of her presence, and you just know. You just know she's around. That's other indications that, perhaps this is a goddess who is interested in working with you, or at least has something to say to you. And I wouldn't recommend ignoring such a goddess, even though she is tied with a lot of things that people might find deeply uncomfortable. The uncomfortable in life exists, and in order to become balanced and integrated people, we have to confront that and deal with it and keep it all in its proper place. So that's what I have for you about the goddess Badb. Next week, we will be talking about the goddess Boan, who is yet another queen of the Fae. So I hope you'll be back for that. In the meantime, share your thoughts about this with me in the comment section, or send me an email at brigantiablackbird@protonmail.com, and I'll chat with you there. But that will do it for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.